Now, you yourself in 2004 created a company named Logic.
Yes.
And I want you to explain to me, was it a market need that you fulfilled, and what are the main reasons behind its success nowadays?
All right. The success of Logic came in because first in the beginning I looked at the market generally and what needs were there. I found that the younger audience in major Saudi metropolitan cities need something that entertains them, that keeps them more going. So we went to the food and beverage industry under the Logic umbrella, in which we created cafes and other new concepts. And the reason of the success is because each of those brands had a reason of being there. It was a reason brand over a purpose brand. And that fulfillment between the audience and all the Logic brands created the success itself. The brand personalities, the colors of the brand, the whole strategies were built according to the audience.
Now, Logic has different brand names for it.
Under Logic, you have 9 different brand names, yes.
Yeah, are they cafes or what?
They're from cafes to lounge, and there's also the new concept that I did before I resigned from Logic was the fork and knife, which is from the first to be done a virtual restaurant by Logic, meaning you order from a call center and the food comes from kitchen straight to your house. No restaurants. It was the first virtual restaurant to be built in Saudi Arabia. That includes 3 different brands for it: Eater, Wonder Burger, and Fork and Knife. Basically what you do is you call a call center, you place your order, you give your address. They have an OTRC system in which they can log on and find out your directions, and the food will be delivered to you in 45 minutes.
It's a new perspective for marketing, also business now. In Russia.
Said Baaghil, economic author and marketing strategist. Said Baaghil is described as an indomitable force in the field of marketing. He spent the latter part of his youth in the United States of America in pursuit of higher studies. Said graduated from University of Maine in a major in business administration with the concentration in marketing. Since graduation, he was afforded the opportunity and privilege of applying his knowledge across the spectrum of the world of marketing. With sheer tenacity, Said embarked upon a project that would prove to be the process of enlightenment into the evolution and mechanics of the discipline of marketing as practiced throughout the ages. Acknowledging that the art of marketing must consistently remain flexible to the changes, hence maintaining its effectiveness in any given scenario. In the year of 2004, Said witnessed the fruition of the diligence and discipline in Logic, a company he created for the exclusive purpose of branding primarily food and beverages. The success of Logic is indicative of the visibility of the models that he has applied to this well-oiled branding machine. There are now several productive entities working under the banner of Logic. Said then took the time to address the true testament to his methods and authored a book called Eccentric Marketing. The book is sold worldwide and may be purchased online at well-known book vendors such as Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Borders. Today, he also periodically contributes articles to industry publications such as Gulf Marketing Review, based in Dubai. Said is also a board member of Storm International, a hands-on consultancy firm based in the United States, with offices in Europe and the Middle East. Of the utmost importance to Said is to see the role of the Arab consumer world evolve into the role of tyrant setter of essential goods that will challenge the status of established international brands. A vision where the new frontier in the world of commerce within the Middle East must be one where homegrown brands are nurtured and as a result cross-pollinate to future prospects. In his view, a brand can potentially be priceless, whereas a product does not share that distinctive honor.
it's the thought, it's the thinking that have to change. I've said it in my book. I've addressed owners of companies here in our region, the whole entire Middle East, where owners are basically the same time the chairman. Job descriptions don't apply to them. I'm the man, I run the show, I decide. So that's also a very critical situation in terms of the way a brand should grow, because you cannot decide unless you have an experience of how brands are built. If you don't know how to address that issue, give it to those experts, which are the marketeers who can handle it. Now, the prospect of the brands for the next 10 years for the region, I see it as promising, because you have new generations with new thinking that are coming, with new modulars that are coming, want to make a difference in what they've inherited from their fathers and forefathers, and they want to exert themselves in producing brands that would serve the region and also globally. Is it possible? Definitely. If you go and move into other industries, like fashion industry, and you look at American brands or European brands, today what they're doing, basically what they're doing, they're subcontracting their production into the Far East.
Okay.
Why? Labor is cheaper, definitely, and brand value goes higher, because they want to invest more on the brand value.
I mentioned branding, not producing. I mean, I would have a small office as big as the studios. I would just design a brand. I do the own designs and produce it in any Far East country, but the origin is this office.
Exactly. The origin of the brand would be here.
Yeah.
It would be, for example, XYZ, a Saudi brand.
Oh, that's what I mean. In your opinion, do you think we can have this happening in the next
Actually,
10 years?
I'm seeing 3 or 4 different brands who are actually Saudi brands, who in the past 8 years are producing overseas from Madagascar, China, Hong Kong, and different areas in the Far East, and they're serving it throughout the region. That brand, those brands, do they have a potential of going globally? I see it, definitely, because the people behind the brand are people who understand what brand process is and how they're building their own brand.
Back again to your book that is sold worldwide. What are the methods that you used?
I'm trying to introduce something called Eccentric Marketing, a modular that basically evolves around 3 different elements. And those elements today are the core of how a brand should live. And that's from the human sense. Talking about the perception, we're talking about the decision, we're talking about the emotions. Your connection to a brand, for example.
Those were the 3 main
elements, yes, which I put them under the umbrella of eccentric marketing. When I say eccentric marketing, we're talking about differentiating a brand from what exists in the market. We're talking about building a brand's profile. We're talking about building the personality, and let the personality have its own twist, have its own identity. You don't have to work on Me Too brands.
Details.
Okay. What I'm saying this is, for example, I'll give you a detail. You walk into your favorite brand clothing store. You look at it. The first thing that you experience is the perception, which is the eye. That eye has 2 ways right now. That perception either goes as an emotional attribute to the brand, or from the pricing factor, if it's too expensive, the mind starts becoming alert. You know? Yeah. So you decide there and say, okay, am I going to buy this? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. I'm emotionally infused. But it's too expensive. But at least you'll have 1 quarter trial. You say, I'll buy it, then I'll be back in 7 months. You know, that becomes more enough an affluent, exclusive brand due to the fact of the pricing structure. But what happened here is that your emotions either are
getting over.
Yeah, or the mind, one of the 2. But it happens very often that if you don't have to consume it every day, you consume it whether you like it or not. Why? Because the perception, the emotions, the presentation of the brand. The brand spoke.
So this is the identity, the personality of the brand, the presentation of this brand.
Exactly. A brand is like human. I mean, if I'm sitting in front of you, right now, we're discussing issues about marketing. There's 2 ways here. You're either impressed by me and my ability in marketing, in which you see me as a brand, or not. It's one of the 2. See, do they work? They do. So it's the mind, it's the perception, it's the emotion. But then once you experience the product, you start talking about quality there.